this is the first video, on-road video then, with driving without drama. What we're going to look at in this one is following distances. Very important subject. This is not so much an advanced technique, it really isn't an advanced technique at all, except that majority of drivers, once they've actually passed their test, let all this go, and it can be a problem. So let's get moving. We'll talk a little bit more and hopefully find some situations that will help me to give you some instruction on the subject. So as I say, once you've passed your test, a lot of drivers let these things go, and it is a skill that will really improve your safety. How much distance should you leave from the vehicle in front? So as I say, it's not so much an advanced video as a remedial one, and as such will be useful for learners as well as experienced drivers who may have let things slip. So it's not a particularly high level skill, it's a simple skill, but because it's forgotten by so many, it would be well, I think, to visit it and make this short video. So the subject is defensive driving, and we're going to look at following distances. We'll discuss those and hopefully have plenty of examples for practice. Got someone waiting at the crossing here, so I'm just easing back on the gas. Now we've passed the point of no return, so we can get moving. In a 40 here, so just getting my speed up to 40, watching the guy on my right. Green lights ahead. I might give just a little bit of commentary occasionally, just to fill in the quiet spells. I've got a cyclist waiting on the left, so I'm just backing off the gas, covering the brake, watching both of these carefully, both sides, and back on the gas. As I say, what we're looking at today, following distances, I'll just repeat, is something that I'm sure the majority of drivers will have been taught by their instructors, but some people in my experience think once I've passed my test I can forget it all, which is not very clever. And following distances can be very, very important, and can be, if you know what they are, know what they should be, it's a real help and a real good safety measure when you're on the road. I can see queuing traffic ahead, a left lane further down, so I'm going to move over early, signalling for the guy behind. Now the first thing about following distances is if you're in a queue, you should always be able to see tyres and tarmac on the vehicle in front. Some instructors say rubber and road, call it what you like. I tend to say tyres and tarmac. So when traffic is stationary, we should always be able to see the tyres and the tarmac on the vehicle in front. If it's a large vehicle like a heavy or a bus, it's worth staying back a little further, because of course large vehicles will obscure the view of the road ahead. So we're moving at about 30 at the moment, quite a bit of traffic in all three lanes, and completely clear behind me just now, which is quite an unusual sight here on the Coventry Road. The guy in front of me is leaving us, watching the man emerging from the left. I'm satisfied he's waiting. A little more gas. We're coming down to red lights now, so we're going to probably have to stop. Just going to amber. So in all probability I'll keep moving, being mindful of the man waiting on the left. I'm going to keep the car moving so as not to invite him out. Mirror. And I'm going to take the road on the left at the next set of lights. First exit to the left. It is a left only dedicated lane here. I'm going to signal for the pedestrians in the road I'm joining. More lights ahead. I'm not going to describe everything I do as a full commentary would do. That doesn't mean I'm not using the mirrors if I don't say so. Sometimes maybe I'll mention them, sometimes I won't, because that's not really the purpose of this. We're not looking at commentary driving today. So I'm coming up behind a parked vehicle and I'm making sure I can see his tyres and tarmac. He's moving off, I'm safe to go. Looking over the hill ahead, one coming out from lane 2 to lane 1. And I'm going to turn round up ahead because I want to get back on the commentary road, get in the thick of it. Now my distance at the moment, I'm doing 20 miles an hour. The distance for that should be 3 car lengths. Highway code says a car length is 4 metres. So 3 car lengths is 12 metres, or about 35, 36 feet. Taking the right here so that I can go back round onto the commentary road. Junction's clear. Many instructors will teach their pupils, and I'm not saying it's wrong, not for a moment, what's called the 2-second rule, and up to 50 miles an hour it's a good rule for dry weather and dry conditions. Over 50 miles an hour the 2-second rule is inadequate. If you're travelling at 30 miles an hour, the way to change that to feet per second is to multiply by 1.5. So 30 miles an hour is 45 feet per second along the road. 40 miles an hour is 60 feet per second. 50 miles an hour is 75 feet per second, and so on. So you multiply the speed by 1.5 and that gives you the feet per second across the ground. Therefore the 2-second rule, if you're doing 30, 45 feet per second, you need to allow 90 feet. Miles an hour multiplied by 1.5 is 45 seconds. I beg your pardon. 45 feet per second. So a 2-second rule, you're allowing 90 feet, which is about 30 metres. The 2-second rule will work, as I say, for 30, 40 and 50, but once you're over 50 you really need to be thinking more in terms of 3 seconds. The gaps are very important. Especially I would say on the motorways. I never fail to be amazed at how close traffic follows one another on motorways, which probably explains why there's so many fatalities. And I have to say some of the worst offenders are heavy goods vehicles. You sometimes will get them driving right on your tyres like they've a gun to the back of your head. But having said that, not all heavy goods drivers, of course, are careless, and many of them seem to be, dangerously so. But it's not what a generalisation really one should make. Lots of motorists do the same. Again, tyres and tarmac on the vehicle in front. Taking my gear to move up, and you will also find when you're queuing, as I have done these last couple of sets of lights, that the vehicle in front will sit. Oftentimes the driver in front will sit with his foot on the brake pedal. Just deal with this situation. So tyres and tarmac in a queue. So I can see his tyres, I can see a little of the road, and if you look at the 2 vehicles in front, you'll see both of them are sitting with their feet on the brake pedal. It's advisable, if a pause becomes a wait, to put your handbrake on, put it into neutral and rest your feet. The reason we leave this space is in case the vehicle in front should break down. You might not be able to tell from the camera, but the green car and the white car, the green car is too close to the white car. So if I was up behind the green car and the white car broke down, Mr. Green has got to stay there until I do something about it or the car in front gets his engine going. So one of the principal reasons for leaving this space is in case the vehicle in front breaks down. But another good reason is, if I was up too close to the green car and the vehicle behind me, and there is a vehicle behind me and I think a little too close, if the vehicle behind me should shunt me, there's a risk I shall go into the green one. Now if you get shunted from behind, as far as I understand, the insurance liability is the driver at the back of you. Of course, if you hit the car in front, that's going to come out of your pocket. So that's another good reason for leaving your space from the vehicle in front. Very simple thing to do, very, very simple thing to do. It's just to keep space when you're queuing. Make sure you can always see tyres and tarmac. We have the situation again here, and we can see that the driver in front is sitting with his foot on the foot brake. Now he's taking it off. I didn't have time to put my handbrake on then, it moved straight away, but when a pause becomes a wait, generally on a flat road we use a handbrake. So I suppose you could define pause as you will, but I would say anything around 3 or 4 seconds is a pause. Much more than that, 5 seconds or more, there's no indication that the vehicle is going to move in front of you, then put your handbrake on. So that if you do get shunted, that minimises the risk of hitting the vehicle in front. And another very good reason is your lights are not blazing in the face of the guy behind you. You're not going anywhere. Why would you sit with your foot on the foot brake and have your lights in the man's face behind? We'll say more about this as we proceed with these videos. So again, coming to lights, queuing traffic, black vehicle, Fiat in front of me, is it? Not sure what it is, that one. But keeping the tyres and the tarmac in sight. I've got my handbrake on, I'm in neutral. Looking at the 2 cars on my left, the 2 black ones, both got their feet on the foot brake. The vehicle in front of me, however, has probably got his handbrake on. The vehicle behind me is too close. Taking my gear, checking all of the mirrors. So really at the moment we've just been dealing with what to do when you stop, and I find I tell this to my pupils, and I have to keep telling them over and over. It's a very simple skill. Skill seems too big a word really, but it could save you some money down the line, and it certainly should stop you getting caught in a queue if the guy in front breaks down. So much for that. We're going to think a little more now about actually what the following distances should be on the move, how to apply the 2-second rule, some simple guidance for keeping the right gap in an urban situation. I'm doing 40 at the moment, so I've got probably in front of me 5 or 6 car lengths, but I feel comfortable with this. The weather's dry, the road's dry, but I'm looking at the vehicles in front of me, many of them are way too close. So the traffic's beginning to bunch a little bit now. I've got cascading brake lights, so I'm just easing off the gas here, checking the lane on the left, got undertakers, keeping a good space from the vehicle in front. The 2-second rule would be 90 feet here, 30 metres, and that's about what I am, I would say. The highway code will also give it to you in car lengths and metres and feet, and I usually teach my learners car lengths because it's easier to, I think it's easier to judge how many car lengths I am from way in front. So we've got the stop situation. Guy in the front, got his foot on the foot brake, you can tell from the lights on the top of his rear window, he's got his foot on the brake. Guy on my right, however, in the pale blue, is just rolling on the clutch. Lights out on the vehicle in front. I've just taken my handbrake off. I had it on, I was secure. Mirror. Again, leaving myself a nice gap from the Toyota in front of me and not passing this guy on my right until he signals. Okay, he's picked up some speed now, so we can pick up a little bit of speed. We might just cover that in a later video, when it's acceptable and not acceptable to pass a vehicle on its left hand side. Got a nice clear space here. Mirror. Vehicle waiting on the left. He is waiting, not a threat. The one fairly close behind. No problem at all with this gap here. I'm doing about 35, 36. Can't go any faster because of the Volkswagen on my right. Still got a good gap from the Honda in front of me. Still got a good gap from him. So just keeping it back. I can accelerate a little when he's gone, bearing in mind the green Corsa on my right. So I can keep up with him. I'm doing about 35 here, mirror. Crossing's clear. Puff of exhaust fumes there, and he's turning left, so I've got to brake for him. Taking third. Got a bus ahead of me. Let's get out of trouble. Nobody close behind, so I'm moving out without a signal. The bus may pull up. I'll make allowances for that by moving over early. Still got a good gap from the Corsa. Slowing a little for the crossing. We're fine. Queuing traffic at the lights. There's quite a few cars in front of the Corsa, so there's a possibility I might have to stop, but if I can, I want to keep the car moving. I'm in third. It's acceptable at the moment. And I need second there. Still got a gap ahead of me. Got a heavy on the left, so I'm not going to get behind him. Might have an opportunity to pass him further up, and he would obscure my view anyway. So coming into a queuing situation again. Tyres and tarmac, mirror, handbrake, neutral, feet off. Just chill for a minute or two. Now the Corsa appears to have his handbrake on. I did notice that his near side rear light was out, but his offside light's gone out as well, so he's got his handbrake on, I think. The one in front of him, however, is sitting on the foot brake. Now he's put his handbrake on, or he's rolling forwards. Woman behind me in a big white motor, BMW, she's got a decent space. She's not too close. Okay, we've got the lights changing, checking all three mirrors. Nice and smoothly away. Maybe an opportunity to take the heavy to fall. Just moving away a little, he's moving out slightly. Change of road surface here, mirror. And also got a pedestrian crossing, which is clear. I can come across now, signalling to the heavy and the Beamer. Got a nice clear distance from the Corsa. I'm maintaining this kind of distance. I didn't mention how the 2-second rule applies. It's quite simple really if you want to use that. And as I say, it's good up to 50 miles an hour. After that it needs to be 3 seconds. When the vehicle in front passes some marker of some sort, like the slow in the road there, or maybe in this case we might use that bus shelter. When that vehicle passes the bus shelter you count 2 seconds. And if you haven't passed the bus shelter, you've got a 2-second gap. It's fairly simple. And you can use all sorts of things to measure that gap. It could be a lamppost or a road sign, or it can be slow written on the road, or even a can in the road if it's not a particularly windy day you can use to begin counting your 2 seconds. I tend to say what I was taught to say as a trainer: only a fool breaks the 2-second rule, which takes you about 2 seconds to say. Some people say 1001, 1002. Whichever works for you is a good way to measure the 2 seconds. But again, the 2-second rule, I must just reiterate, is for good dry conditions. In wet weather that needs to be doubled. In icy weather the highway code says as much as 10 times the distance. That might not be practical, but it doesn't apply. The 2-second rule doesn't apply in all weathers. Doing 40 at the moment. No problems at all in front of me. I'm not going to pass the vehicle on my right. It would involve breaking the speed limit, and also it's not wise to pass. It's not recommended to pass on the left. So we're in a 40 limit. Got brake lights appearing on the bend, and that's because probably because there's some traffic lights out there. One across the front of me into lane 1. Still got a reasonable gap here. I'm doing about 35. Brake lights, mirror. Past the point of no return now, so I don't need to worry about slowing down the lights. Still got a good gap here, 8 to 9 car lengths. I'm doing 40. The highway code says 3 car lengths at 20, 6 car lengths at 30, 9 car lengths at 40, 13 car lengths at 50, 18 car lengths at 60, and 24 car lengths at 70. Now if you're in an urban situation, 3, 6 and 9 are a bit easier to measure, 20, 30, 40. 3 car lengths, 6 car lengths, 9 car lengths is easier to judge. I'm about 8 or 9 or even 4 car lengths the vehicle in front, which is fine at 40. Looking at the traffic just laterally for a moment, quite a bit of traffic ahead. One or two of them a bit too close, especially in lane 2. But generally speaking, they're fairly well spaced out for the most part. You can tell who's tailgating and who isn't back here. But I've got a good following distance from the vehicle ahead of me. And a policeman on an overtake. Audi behind me. Slightly closer than he should be, but not too threatening at the moment. The policeman wasn't very clever moving in with that signal at first. Generally speaking, the police are trained to high standard, but we all make mistakes. And I'm just backing off the gas just a tiny bit to open my space from the police vehicle. And I'm happy with that. I can back it up again. Back up to 40 mirror. Still got a good space from the Audi in front of me now, just moved across. Quite often will use the centre lane markings to measure my 2 seconds. You can actually look at which stripe of paint the vehicle in front is passing, and you can measure it from there. Now the traffic ahead all looking pretty close together to me, but I'm going to stay back. Got an Audi too close behind at the moment. Just keeping a good space here, steady 40, brake lights ahead, mirror. So brake lights are coming on, so I'm just easing off the gas here. And I want to go straight on, so if I get the opportunity I'll take lane 2. I've got somebody coming up in lane 2 at the moment. One in front is leaving us, so I can add a few miles an hour on here. Keeping in this lane, holding it at a steady 40. No problems at all with following distance at the moment, taking 5. Got a heavy behind me. Now I know from experience that the road ahead changes to 60 up ahead. It's 50 just now. The heavy's closing, so I'm going to add a few miles an hour on up to 50. This is also a clear way, no stopping. Somebody hammering down lane 2, about to overtake. You'll often find that people will accelerate well before they're supposed to do. So I'm holding it at 50 here. When I get to the 60, then I will accelerate. Take the left lane. So at 60 we need to allow more than 2 seconds. I normally work with 3. Now the vehicles in front are doing about 50 at the moment, and therefore so am I. Just keeping myself in good space. As he passes the lamppost, only a forward brakes and 2 second rule. Only a forward brakes and 2 second rule, about 4 seconds away, which is fine. You can add a few more miles an hour on at the roundabout. I'm taking the first left. Truck is behaving himself behind me, keeping a sensible distance. Applying the brakes now for the first exit of the roundabout. Going to red. Firming up the brakes. It's clearly marked for the vehicles behind that I'm turning left, so I'm not going to use a signal at the moment. I may use it if there's vehicles coming down from the first exit when I the other way. Handbrake, neutral, relax the feet. The heavy behind me is pretty close. There's no danger in front of me. Checking all of the mirrors. I'm going going to signal for the vehicles waiting on the left, and we're coming into a national here. A dual carriageway, that's 70 miles an hour. Park vehicles, checking the right mirror in case I need to move out. The heavy has followed me in here, and the limit here is 70. So gradually picking up some speed. A bit of traffic ahead. I'm going up to 5 now. Got a heavy ahead as well. I'm around 50 at the moment, gathering speed. Just want to get round the bend and have a good look at what's going on in the road ahead. Now we're at 60. We've got man just moved in from 2 to 1 behind me. And I'm going to move out here because I am gaining on the course there. 65. I'm up to 70 now. I'm following the road ahead. No problem with the vehicles on my left, one leaving us. The heavy's still going ahead and there's a light goods vehicle in front of me. The road bending around towards the right. I'm going to stay out here because I'm gaining quite rapidly on the heavy. It's limited to 60 anyway. Looking well through the bridge, around the bend, under the bridge. Can see some more heavies well up the road. No one behind at all at the moment in lanes 1 and 2. Still closing on traffic on the left. Lane markings, just ordinary centre lane markings down the centre. I'm still closing on these vehicles, so I'm going to stay out here. Mirror. And a little way ahead, a mile and a half is a roundabout where I'm supposed to go straight on. The vehicle on the left looks to be happy where he is. He's not planning to overtake me with a truck, so I can hold it at 70. No reason at all not to do 70 here unless you feel like taking it easy. Of course we mustn't hold traffic up. So I've got a sign, a blackboard for a roundabout ahead. I'm going to slot myself in, just backing off the gas now, getting the truck behind me in my rear view mirror, and then I'm going to signal. And just make sure he's happy and then moving over. Traffic is now braking for the roundabout, so I'm going to have to use the brakes as well. Signal off. Change of road surface up the roundabout. Truck behind, not threatening me at all, so roadworks here, mirror. Brake lights on the several vehicles in front. Thinking about tyres and tarmac as we approach the roundabout, taking second, being prepared to keep that space from the Volkswagen. I can keep moving. It is clear on the right, so we're out. Closure of the left lane doesn't apply to me because I'm not taking the motorway. Heavy goods vehicle waiting on the left. I'm following the road ahead, taking the next exit. Just being mindful of the vehicle coming along. And road markings is a bit of a dog's dinner up here. I need to centre lane to go straight on. Still got plenty of space for the vehicles in front. There's no point racing along because there's another roundabout coming up. Mirror clear behind. So I'm taking the centre lane here to follow the road ahead, second exit. And I'm going to take it in third. I'm planning to stop, but I'm looking to go. And it's clear over there, so we'll just follow through. Exit on the left is clear. Mirror. So I've got this heavy vehicle in front of me, and I'm on a 70 mile an hour road here, so we can start picking up some speed. Another heavy vehicle further down in front of me, so we're going to take 5 and out for the truck, clear behind me in lane 2. No reason for the truck to move out, nothing's threatening him that I can see, so we're going to add some more miles an hour on here, doing 60 at the moment. We're probably going to have time to take the white vehicle, not so sure about the next heavy. So now up to 70, mirror clear. I want to get the white vehicle in my rear view mirror so I know I'm well clear before I move back to the left. Before in this video that I'm quick to give you, but that won't be any harm. So I can now see the white vehicle in my rear view mirror so I know I'm well clear. It doesn't need a signal because I'm well past, so just easing it back to lane 1. Roundabout ahead, mirror. Heavy goods vehicle in front of me. Lane lines down the centre. Taking the first exit at the roundabout, brake lights on the truck. So I've been off the gas for a moment or two. I'm now going to start bringing the So I want to keep the weight of the car moving if possible. The truck is away. Just watching over on the right there, one inbound from my right, taking first. Trying to keep the weight of the vehicle moving and follow the green one into the first exit. As we come around from the 70, we have a 50 post mirror. The hazard line's down the centre here. I'm doing 30 at the moment. I've got plenty of space still from the green car, and he doesn't appear to be in any hurry. Mirror. 2 behind on a very long follow, so they're not a problem at the moment. Slowing the carriageway here. Mirror. I'm going to go straight ahead at the roundabout first exit. And again, I'm just backing off the gas there. I haven't touched the brakes. Brake lights ahead. Mirror. Following the road ahead first exit. It's looking clear on the right. I'm going to signal off here for both vehicles. The one overtaking me and the one in front. The guy overtaking had better thoughts of it on the roundabout. Heavy goods vehicle out to join us from the left. Vehicle behind is tailgating me, which is something else we need to discuss when we're talking about following distances. What do you do if you're tailgated? Some people think you should speed up. That's the last thing you do, unless you're going too slow, of course. If you're going too slow for the conditions and there's no good reason for it, then you ought to go up to the limit. But at the moment I'm in a 50, I've got a vehicle in front of me doing 40. I don't have enough vision to pass him, so I've got to do 40. Normally what you must do if you're being tailgated is to make sure that you can deal with any issues in front of you, and if necessary, slow down. The best way to do that, if you can, is just to back off your gas pedal. Don't brake check the guy behind, don't stamp on your brakes, that's daft. You're likely to get the back end of your car smashed in, or he's likely to get out of the car and hit you with something. So, at his first opportunity. But the sensible thing to do if you're being tailgated is to, if necessary, ease off the gas a little. Be sure that you have plenty of space ahead of you to deal with what might develop. Give yourself a little extra space. We're going straight at the roundabout. Brake lights coming on ahead. Still being tailgated I am. I'm taking third here. Looking across the roundabout. Plenty of inbound vehicles at the moment. So now Mr. Mercedes has taken his opportunity. Not the best lane to go straight on it. Mirror. Signalling for the vehicle in front and behind. We've lost the green one now to the next exit. Round into a 30. Mirror. Brake lights ahead. 1 or 2 cars queuing here, including Mr. Mercedes. Taking a central position on this roundabout, there's no lane markings. If you take the left on a situation like this, I'll cut you up on the right. If you take the right, I'll cut you up on the left. So the sensible thing to do, I think, is to take a central position there. White one going away quite rapidly. Mirror, one in behind me, but not pressing. So just to repeat what to do if you're being tailgated, it can be very intimidating. Especially if you're being tailgated by a lorry at 60 miles an hour, which I've had on more than one occasion. Dealing with the traffic, okay. Keeping my eye on the bus here. Crossing's clear, bus is waiting. Don't accelerate if you're being tailgated unless you know you are going too slow for the limit. It might be that you don't have confidence, perhaps. Maybe you've had a situation in the past that has knocked your confidence, and you don't have confidence to drive to the limit, in which case I would say, first opportunity you have, pull over and let the tailgate vehicle go past. And if you do have the confidence, then make sure you're at the speed limit before you do anything else, if there's room ahead of you, of course. What you're doing by actually slowing down is you're giving the guy behind time to brake. If you have to brake suddenly, you're allowing him, well, you shouldn't have to brake suddenly, but you're giving him more time. He might not have seen the problem in front of you. You've made allowances for it by opening the gap, and then he's less likely to have to brake hard because you are. I hope that all makes sense. By all means, leave something in the comments box. watch this and have got good advice from me, I'm up for that. Smart Alex I can do without, we always get them. Often see a learner's, an instructor's video with some Smart Alex. Wants everybody on the site to know how much better a driver is than the guy that made the video. You needn't bother if that's your intention, but if you've got some useful criticism, I'm happy to hear it, or to read it. It's a space for me, it's got my name all over it, thank you very much. Vehicle on the left is giving way. So there's hopefully some helpful advice for you when you're stopping. Tyres and tarmac, put your handbrake on. If you're being tailgated, if necessary open up the gap in front so you're giving yourself some more braking room, and consequently giving the guy behind some more braking room. The 2-second rule is good up to 50. So when the vehicle in front passes something, you count 2 seconds. As long as you haven't passed it, you've got your gap. When you're over 50, make it 3 seconds. So you could say 1001, 1002, 1003. So that's that. That's the video on following distances. I hope that's helpful. Of course, this will tie in if you're a learner. It should almost certainly tie in with what your instructor is teaching you. So we're going to end it here, and there'll be another defensive video soon, defensive driving video soon, probably on high visual horizon. I'll give a little bit of thought to it between now and then. But a high visual horizon is a real bonus, so that's what we might discuss and demonstrate next time out. Thanks for watching.